Radar Update. My name is Daniel Vallis and welcome to our channel. We've been looking at Genesis 1:14, and God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years." The celestial lights in the heaven is the clock and the only clock that God goes by. Don't let anybody tell you he's changed clocks or signs or anything else like that. He has his clock, and his signs are pegged to his clock. And when we understand time from a celestial biblical perspective, we will better understand the signs. And it is understanding what tells time that helps us understand the timing of the signs, and also where to look for the celestial signs too. But we've also been looking at Luke 12:38, and if he shall come in the second watch or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants. Those servants who are looking for their Lord to return, and particularly in a second watch or a third watch, which is the 3 hours before midnight and the 3 hours after midnight. Verse 40, "Be ye therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think not." There's 3 hours before midnight, there's 3 hours after midnight. You don't know which of those hours he's coming in, but look for him in that grouping of 3 hours before and in that grouping of hours afterwards. Now, I've been thinking about hours and watches, and particularly trying to take it to the analogy of the year pattern that we've been looking at too. And one interesting thing about celestial-based time versus our atomic clock time that we use today is sundial time, if you want to call it that. The hours are not always the same length. During the summer, you have a longer day and a shorter night. During the winter, you have a shorter day and a longer night. A sundial traces the movements of the sun and bases the hours upon that, and there's a difference in the length of the sun's movement from summer to winter, for example. The length of the hours changes. It's what's known as an unequal hour. During the summer, the hours are longer in length, and during the winter, the hours are shorter in length. At the time of equinox is about the only time that they're equal. But this concept of unequal hours that change depending on the time of year, this is a very interesting concept that I've just been thinking about lately. But no matter what the length of the hours are, there will always be 24 hours in a day, a complete day. It doesn't matter if those hours are longer or shorter, you will always have 24 hours. And so this is one thing I've been contemplating and chewing on quite a bit, because this year there are 13 months. There's an extra leap month added, known as intercalculation. And so we've been trying to figure out what is the watches of the night period, when would that be corresponding to a year pattern. And so I've been having some difficulty with this, and why I've been trying different things with it, because there's 13 months, which is abnormal. If there were 12 months, it'd be a whole lot easier, because then you'd have equal 6 months representing the day portion and 6 months equal the night portion. But when there's 13 months, it brings up a question of, do you start the night portion at the beginning of the 7th month like it normally is, or do you start it somewhere else? How do you properly figure out and nail down when the second and third watch is? And the main reason we're applying it to a year pattern is the Bible tells us we don't know the day or hour. And he's coming in an hour that we think not. And he's intimating in different ways that we are to look for him in the second or third watch, but it's not going to be on a typical day or hour pattern that we think of. But we are to look for him in a second or third watch. But it's not going to be within a 24-hour construct. And so this is why we've been looking at trying to figure out the second or third watch on the next level in the celestial time patterns. And many people know that in the Bible, the term week refers to 7 days. But the term week can also apply to 7 years as well. Sometimes, depending on the context, it's referring to 7 days, and sometimes it's referring to 7 years. A day can be taken to the next level pattern-wise to equal a year. And so we've been looking at this year we are in right now as a pattern of a single day. Trying to figure out, instead of a 24-hour day period, trying to figure out the second or third watch of that, let's take it to the next level of understanding a second or third watch equivalent on that pattern. But again, one thing that's made it difficult this year is that there's 13 months because of an added leap month. So what we have to do is convert 13-month divisions into 24 proportional hour equivalents. We're going to switch it to percentages. Because no matter how many months you do have, whether there's 12 or 13, there will always be 24-hour divisions in a day. So in order to properly convert it to a day picture, we have to convert it proportionally to how a day is divided. No matter how many months we have, we need to convert it into 24-hour divisions that are in a day, because a day will never have more than that. So if we slice it up into 24 hours, 12 hours during the daylight portion and 12 hours during the night portion, corresponding to 13 months, that's how it would be proportionally divided up. And this year, there are 384 days in this year because of the added leap month. Divided that into 24 different divisions, that's approximately 16 days per hour pattern. So once we have converted it into 24 proportional hour equivalents, we can then divide the night half into 4 night watches of 3 hours each. And since there's 16 days per hour, and 3 hours typically found in a watch, that gives us 48 days per watch on this proportional pattern, which means that midnight would have been approximately December 23rd, 2017, 96 days back from the end of the year, which is going to be on March 29th, which puts the end of the third watch approximately on February 9th, back 48 days from the end of the year. And so this is a more day-year equivalent, more correct of determining the 4 night watches and approximately when it would end, to make it truer match to the day pattern, because there's 24 hours and it won't change. So with that in mind, we have been looking at the approximate end of the third watch being February 5th, which would be right around the time of Jupiter at station 1 at its peak there. But now based on a more accurate calculation, the approximate end of the third watch would be February 9th, for 13 months converted proportionally to a 24-hour day equivalent. But that should catch our attention because that is right at the same time as the 12-month mark from the fast of Esther pointed to last year. Right in this time area here. And last year the commemorative fast and Purim were in the 12th month. This year they are in the 13th month. But 12 months, which is in the picture of Esther as she was getting ready to go to the king's house. She had her time of preparation and purification for 12 months. And so we're coming up to 12 months right here at the same time, which, calculating the approximate end of the third watch, that's right at this time too. That should catch our attention. Doesn't mean the rapture is going to be on that time. We don't know the hour that our Lord is returning, and we should expect him sooner rather than later, not right at the last minute when there's no other option. He's going to come at a time wherein there's still ambiguity about when he's coming. And so he wants to find us watching. He wants to find us watching. We have so many reminders that we are to look for our redemption. We are in the third watch. We should look for our Redeemer, our beloved, Shiloh, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. And let us love him and serve him first and highest above all else. Maranatha.